Red Bull Rant is a free-flowing conversation about soccer that may include adult language. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to the Red Bull Rant. I'm Jason Ipico.
I'm Pat McDonald.
I'm Truman, and this is episode 44. Nothing to see here. Move along, you looky-loos.
All right, so welcome to our second ever live show. Already off to a great start since apparently our volume wasn't working correctly again. And now Pat and Truman are really loud. Yay!
Good. I like it when I'm loud.
So let's.
I'm a loud man.
I can talk down here.
All right, so
That's better
let's get
for
into
everybody.
it.
Hey, everybody. We're gonna do a show and just kind of hang out. Yeah. All right.
Just like to have some Red Bull Rant smooth jazz right now.
Oh,
Hey, everybody.
yeah.
So what y'all think about that Mike Pecky? I think he's good.
Anyway.
Pecky, that's our first topic for tonight.
What? Really?
Today,
Why?
the
Did
New York
something
Red
happen?
Bulls- The New York Red Bulls removed the interim tag from Mike Pecky to officially name him the manager of the New York Red Bulls. So, to start us off, Pat, what do you think about that?
I think it's the right move. I mean, at this point, you got a month, a little over a month of the season. He's been the guy calling the shots ever since, so you don't have to worry about a culture shock of bringing in a new guy. I think spending another week or two trying to lure in another European coach only to have it completely fall apart at the end would have been foolish. I definitely think that it's. I definitely think there's going to be some growing pains for Petke because he doesn't have experience. It'd be a good idea to find an experienced assistant to go with him. But like I said, it's the right move right now, and he's a fan favorite, so it's going to be fun to watch, especially if he succeeds.
Yeah, I think we're all going to agree pretty much in the same way is that who doesn't love Mike Pecky? We wanted him to be coach, maybe not so quickly. Even he said that he doesn't think he's ready for this. I mean, from talking to him, at the ESC party, he pretty much said he was just kind of absorbing all the information he could and really taking it in. Does that mean he's ready now? I don't know. I really, really, really want to hope he is ready because we love the guy. This is all we want is for him to succeed. And hot damn, if we go to the final with him as coach, I don't know what's going to happen. I think half of New Jersey might just set itself on fire because it'll be so fucking awesome.
I think it's really good for Pecky to get the interim tag stripped. I mean, he said himself a few days ago that he doesn't think he's ready, and maybe he isn't. But with the first-time coach, you never know until you actually get into it. So, as much as the trial by fire sucks for Pecky, I'm pretty sure I have a big feeling that he's going to do well with New York. Maybe not right away, especially with the new pieces like Juninho and having them integrate into the team. But I'm willing to see how he's going to do with this. I think the first month or two is going to be a little tough. Maybe they'll gel a little bit after that. The biggest challenge for him, I think, is going to be the July when the World Cup qualifiers and the Gold Cup will be happening at the same time. I'm not sure who will be losing, but you can bet that we're going to be losing somebody, especially with the United States probably running out a B team or even a C team for that Gold Cup. So we'll have to see. But my initial feeling is that it's going to work out. Probably some growing pains at the beginning, but overall, I think he'll do a good job this year. maybe not an MLS final, but if he can at least have the team on a winning record, not necessarily. I don't even care if he makes playoffs. If he has his team on a winning record, I'll take that as a good first year for him.
One of our people in the chat box, talking about Henry's ego. I think that's probably might be one of the biggest issues. Is our new writer Craig Taylor made a great point. It's one thing to be able to coach the younger guys, but and be the assistant coach and be the go-to guy. The hey buddy, what's going on? Let me help you out. It's going to be another thing to be the boss. And can he be that bossy guy to someone like Thierry Henry? And you have to massage his ego more than any
Yeah.
other guy on the Red Bulls.
It's going to be tough to see. I mean, that being said, I know Alex Labadow had that article on Goal today about this being a completely wrong situation for Petke because of the egos and all that. In the end, Henry has 1 year left on his contract. Is he really going to sabotage the team? I don't think so. I think he's a winner, and he knows causing dissent in the locker room will not get you a W. On top of that, Petke is I mean, every time we see an interview with him, we know he's no nonsense. So, massaging the ego, yeah, but at the same time, he's not going to put up with any shit, in my opinion. Really, the biggest flaw right now with Petke is that this is a win-now team, and he's just not a win-now coach. But, again, stranger things have happened. So, hopefully he can pull together and put in a nice little season.
Yeah. Not sure how he'll handle Henry, but you would hope that if Henry is causing the problems, maybe Tim Cahill can step in and help Petke. We all know that Cahill is looked up by a lot of the young guys in the locker room. So hopefully, if Henry has been the way he has been in the past, where he berates players, stuff like that, maybe Cahill can step in and help Petke right the ship. And obviously, we'll have to see how that works out because, with Henry having such a big ego, I don't think that Cahill would necessarily step in just to take over the role. I think he would only step in when it was really absolutely needed. So,
That's one.
Hope that.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I mean, one thing of note is that Tim Cahill already tweeted out his support for Mike Petke like shortly after the announcement was made. So he's on board. So I mean that's at least one of the so-called egos you have to worry about. So I mean that being said, he's the guy who's going to run through brick walls. So
That's true.
All right, so moving on to talk about youth. It was announced yesterday that USL Pro, which is currently the third division of U.S. soccer, and MLS have reached an agreement for a USL Pro / MLS Reserve League. The options available to MLS clubs as part of this agreement is that one, they can affiliate with the USL Pro team, which that means is that they will have to send at least 4 players on loan to the USL Pro team, and on top of that, they will have to withdraw their MLS Reserve League team, as their USL Pro team would then be considered the reserve team. If they don't affiliate with USL Pro, their MLS reserve team will play matches against USL Pro teams. Currently, it's supposed to be a home and home against one other team. I believe right now the Red Bulls have been announced to play the Wilmington Hammerheads in a home and home. So the reserve team would play them. And the third option is to create a USL Pro team that is directly correlated to the MLS team. What the stipulation, though, is that any players signed to that team, directly to that team, are not available to the MLS club. So, let's say New York created one in New Jersey. Any player signed to that secondary club cannot play for the Red Bulls. But the Red Bulls may loan players down to that USL Pro team. So, it would be like affiliating with a team, but the Red Bulls would have direct control, so they could actually implement their own style of play. Something that you don't really see a lot of in MLS because there's no true academy, there's no true reserve league, as much as that hurts because there really should be a reserve league. and I don't mean that there isn't one. It's just the way it's been arranged has been kind of crappy for the last few years. So, Pat, what do you think about this new arrangement?
I think it's a step in the right direction, but I do think it's a little weird. I don't understand why any MLS squad would want to give up a reserve team just so 4 players can get worked out per USL Pro team. That doesn't, to me, that doesn't make any sense. But I mean, that being said, I mean, if as long as the reserve teams are going to be playing a couple of USL pros, and all those matches are going to count against each other, I'm all for it. I definitely think it's a step in the right direction. Because the USL Pro teams are going to play hard against the MLS reserves, and it's just going to be good for the kids in the USL Pro. It's going to be good for the kids in the MLS reserves because you're just going to have a good competition going back and forth.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think any move to integrate with the lower divisions is definitely just a huge step in the positive. If it's not perfect, hey, it's not perfect. But you know what? It's the first year where they're actually trying to put an association together. So obviously you're going to have kinks to work out. But yeah, I think it's great. I think it's going to get more players more playing time. And what team needs young players to need playing time than New York? Because they don't see the field on the squad. Although, with Pecky, that could completely change. I mean, it's not the Hans Backe era anymore.
It actually, our good friend Jimmy Cates, who I guess either figured out how to create an account or just finally chimed in, said it will be good to get some playing time for these guys. The biggest problem with the reserve league up until this year has always been that yeah, that's right, Jimmy. Call me a dick. I have mod power. Don't make me ban you. The biggest problem with the reserve league has been that the scheduling's always been inconsistent. I remember last year against the New England Revolution, there was a home game, and then the reserve league was actually supposed to play a few hours after that. And 2 days before, they decided that the game for some reason wasn't going to be played. There wasn't even a reason why. Just all of a sudden, oh no, we're moving this game to Foxborough, and we're going to play it after one of the games up there. So hopefully, even though it's only 2 games, hopefully this helps give some sense of stability to the reserve league calendar, because that has been the biggest flaw in all this. I mean, you want guys to get playing time they have to play, and if you don't have a schedule, then obviously it's not going to work out. So just having this arrangement where you're guaranteed at least 2 games I think will help in the long run. And didn't mention this before, but the USL Pro president, whose name actually is escaping me at the moment, said that this is actually the first phase. So it looks like this arrangement is meant to grow over the next few years. So I'm really curious to see where they take it. I mean, will they have a full-fledged USL Pro where the MLS reserves play against the pro teams in a full season, or is it just going to be more of this? We'll play every 2-4 matches a year.
I mean, either way, it's definitely a step in the right direction. I mean, the academy system was step 1. This is step 2. I mean, this is really, it's good for MLS, don't get me wrong, but it's most of all, it really benefits the national team because we're now going to start getting younger players as much playing time as possible. And that is absolutely crucial to seeing these guys get better and eventually our U.S. national program to being much more competitive throughout the world.
Agreed. Bam.
All right. All right, on to international talk. The United States men's team has a friendly coming up against Canada next week. It's on Tuesday, 29th, 9 p.m. Eastern, and they'll be playing in Houston. Their warm-up match before World Cup qualifying starts off. This match is going to be not the full-fledged team. Yeah, no Landon's going to be in this game, although I think no Landon for the first qualifying match either, from what I heard.
Landy Cakes plays when he wants to play. That's his only when the World Cup starts. That's it.
So Pat, let's start with who we think's going to play in this match.
That's a good question. Well, what you can say right away is that both Edson Buttle and I believe Steve Betashore will not be playing. They're both knocked out with injury. I think a couple of your definites. Graham Zusi is obviously going to play. I think you'll see Eddie Johnson play on the left like he did before. Juan Agudelo, I think, is somebody who you're going to see up top. Unless the Celtic transfer goes down within the next week, I definitely think you're going to see him start. Will Bruin's been getting a lot of raves recently, and I think he'll get some time. Probably Mixed Discrude will probably start. On the back line, Omar Gonzalez is absolutely going to get his chance now. You hear Alfredo Morales is probably going to get some time. Maybe Matt Beasler as well. You might see AJ De La Garza. It gets a little fuzzier after that. Our boy Connor Lade, we'll see. It would be nice to see him dress up and end up on the field, but I think we all thought it was kind of strange that he got called up. So I mean, unless he could be tearing it up, but I haven't heard anything. And then in goal, it'll be interesting to see who Klinsmann tries out. I would like to see Tally Hall. I've always been a big Tally Hall fan. Bill Hameen and Sean Johnson have had some hiccups in the past year or so when wearing the red, white, and blue. So with Tally Hall being his home stadium, it would just be nice to see. But yeah, I don't know. It definitely is a wild card. Klinsmann has always been a wild card, but so except for a few of those guys, it's going to be interesting.
Hey, what do you think the odds are that TT got in Klinsmann's ear a little bit and said, "Hey, Connor Lade, that's the guy. We know how much he loves the guy and how much he talks about him." You think he might have put a little voice in there for him?
It's very possible. It's I wouldn't write it off. That's for sure. Because TT, as we all know, loves Connor Lade. But yeah, we'll see what happens. It'd be again, I'd like to see him get on the field. It'd be really fascinating.
Yeah. Now, Klinsmann's come out and said that I think he said 8 spots for this group of players are open to make the team for the first qualifier. Do you think that who would be the best bet to make those 8 spots?
Graham Zusi. He's absolutely going to be there in Honduras. I think he's your 100% take it to the bank. He will be there. After that, probably Eddie Johnson. He had a nice run in the qualifiers. Mixed Discrude had a nice showing in the Russia friendly, so as long as he didn't take a step back, he'll probably be there. Omar Gonzalez, unless he just completely falls on his face against Canada, and he did struggle in the international jersey, the last time he was in January camp 2 years ago, so it's not outside the realm of possibility. But other than that, I'm pretty sure he will go. It's a toss-up with the goalkeepers. I mean, if Tally Hall plays and plays lights out, I think he'll be your third keeper against Honduras. After that, it's a crapshoot. Probably Kyle Beckerman. Maybe Juan Agudelo. Will Bruin's a wild card because, again, he's been getting raves out of camp. Josh Gatt, maybe he played against Russia and he was okay.
Jimmy approved. Josh Gatt.
So we'll see.
They were bringing up Juan Agudelo in the chat box. Can I just say, thank God the Red Bulls got rid of him? You guys with me on that? Thank God, because him on Instagram, he loves him some him. He is all about him taking pictures of himself hanging out in LA, hanging out here, hanging out there. Man, thank God he's gone. I can't take it anymore.
I agree in the sense that he had no play. I mean, he wasn't doing anything for the Red Bulls, and now it looks like he could be going to Europe at some point soon. I mean, if Chivas doesn't let him go, it's ridiculous. And the same goes for Brett Shea. So someone mentioned Brett Shea. If Dallas doesn't let Brett Shea go, it's also ridiculous. But
Well,
yeah,
actually, it wasn't. Sorry.
I was gonna say. I mean, yeah. As for him being annoying on Twitter, I was annoying on AIM when I was 20 years old.
About Shea, it wasn't Dallas that didn't want to let him go. It was MLS because the thought is that they maybe will get more money for him in the summer market after he comes back and plays for a few months. I have no idea about Chivas. The guy who brought it up said that Chivas is the one that apparently said that Celtics not offering enough money. I'm not really sure how true that is, since New York would be getting a cut. And plus, Chivas has blatantly come out and said that they want a Mexican-American team, and Agudelo doesn't fit that mold, so I don't see a reason for Chivas to necessarily hold out for more money. So we're going to open up the phone lines now.
You know, it's our Gold Cup.
We'll talk Gold Cup while we wait for someone to call in. Our number is 973-679-4541.
We expect only Jimmy Cates to call in, so we're just going to keep talking about stuff.
Oh yeah, and you can also call us on Skype. Our username is Red Bull Rant. So the Gold Cup, the locations were announced this week for which cities were going to host the games. Red Bull Arena was again selected for hosting, along with CenturyLink in Seattle, Geldwin, Rio Tinto, the Rose Bowl, Sports Authority Field in Denver, Cowboy Stadium, BBVA Compass Stadium, Soldier Field, Renchester Field in Hartford, Connecticut, M&T Bank in my backyard of Baltimore, Georgia Dome, and Sun Life Stadium in Miami. No announcements were made about the dates for who would be hosting what, because there's one more spot to be qualified for, and that game is happening tomorrow, I believe. So I wrote a piece about this already, so I'm not going to talk about this. But Pat, what do you think about the Gold Cup locations that were picked?
I think they're pretty good. I hope at least the U.S. plays at least one game here in the Northeast because it's I want to go. So even if it is going to be the B team, I doubt it'll be Red Bull Arena. I bet they'll probably get one of those. What they get last time, like Jamaica and Honduras or something like that. I bet they'll get something like that again. Portland and Seattle, I think this pretty much tells you they're not going to get a World Cup qualifier. I think this is just to shut them the hell up. But here's your damn games. Let them play on their crappy turf for the Gold Cup. It's the consolation prize. I think it probably eliminates Red Bull Arena as well for the qualifier. Even though, I know Denver is repeating because they get the game against Costa Rica, but it's a different stadium. I would not be shocked if they put the Mexican team in Sports Authority Field. So I think this, if you want to look at this and what it says about World Cup qualifying, I think all those rumors about the game going to PPL Park is highly likely if there's going to be a Northeast World Cup qualifier. And whatever, that's fine. It is what it is. And I guess we have a caller.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to finish. 313, and I'm guessing this is Jimmy since he said he's on the line.
Yeah, not to change topics real fast, but is anybody else worried that if we start doing bad with Petke, that us and the fans will turn on him and have that dynamic?
I think
that's my biggest worry.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the biggest things is, we love the guy so much for everything he's done for this organization, and we don't want to see him to fail. And if the shit starts to hit the fan, no one wants to be the guy that's like, Pecky's got to go, because you don't want to do it to him.
I think he'll get a year. I think he'll definitely get a year, unless he's just so painfully wretched. And even then, I think he may still get a year. I don't. Again, he's just too beloved. I don't see people trying to run him out of town too quickly.
Yeah, I
think you
said on
should-
Twitter.
Sorry, Jimmy, go ahead.
No, I said on Twitter earlier today, if he fights that fucker from DC on the touchline at the first game, I think he's bought himself like a year or two.
I mean, if that happens, he's got his. Where can he go from legend? I mean, is there anything above legend at this point?
Yeah, it's called Statue in front of RBA. That's what it's called. With a Superman cape on.
Somebody's got to be making a Revenge is Coming Coach Petke shirt, right?
It's got to happen.
Someone's gonna be wearing it opening day at either El Paso or Cata somewhere, right?
And speaking of that guy, the qualifiers, you see what like these times are? The first game is at a 4:30 middle of the day. Then the next two are like 10 Eastern and 8 Mountain Time, which is what 10 Eastern too. What is going on here?
Well, the first one's against Honduras, so I think they get to set the time, and nobody's really sure why they would pick a early game on a weekday, because just kind of doesn't make sense. Costa Rica matches 8 Mountain, which makes sense because that's 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. Eastern time, so you can't really make it too much later. Mexico 10:30 Eastern is it's a shocker, but you have the reasoning for that one's got to be that they want their fans to be able to get there, because
that's going to be crazy. All of us down there, that long pre-gaming. And I will say, they screwed up that game on that Friday night at 10 o'clock, so it'll get over at 12 Eastern. My flight leaves at the next morning at 10 a.m., so I got to be at the airport at like 8. So I'm like, oh, worse. Thanks a lot, Neil.
Maybe you should switch your flight instead of complaining about it.
Jim, I think as we've seen in the past, the U.S. men's national team and the Red Bulls do not care about your travels or your dad's travels or anyone else's travel schedule because they will just screw you over.
They do.
Good stuff.
Speaking of schedule, our schedule's a little better.
What's that?
Was that?
Our schedule's a little better. No, midweek games, a lot of weekend stuff.
Yeah.
This schedule is fucking awesome.
It's so much better.
I think. No, I was just gonna say. I think we might have mentioned this whenever, but there's I think only 2 midweek games, and they're against like Montreal and like another team no one gives a rat's ass about, which is great. So the rivalry games are not midweek games. They're going to be on the weekends. I fucking hate the start for the home opener. Now that'll be a 1 o'clock start. It says 12:30, but I guarantee you that's 1 o'clock. That'll be NBC Sports prattling on for a half hour. So.
All right, I'll get off. Let you guys listen to your other awesome callers.
All
Take
right.
care, guys.
All right,
Later.
Jimmy.
Yes. So if you want to call in, there's the phone number on the chat 973-679-4541. Skype Red Bull Rants. If you don't call, we're just gonna ramble on for another couple minutes.
So let's get back to the Gold Cup venues, since Truman didn't get a shot at talking about that.
Oh, you know what? I was just going to say, when you see the announcement of where the game's going to be played, we already know where the final's going to be, right? It's going to be in LA at the Rose Bowl. Again.
It's got to be in LA. Yeah, there's no maybe Chicago. That's the final Phil Haber scored. The winner was in Chicago, so would not be shocked if it's in Chicago.
The announcement for when each venue is going to host probably won't come out till the draw. And in 2011, the draw was in March, I think. So probably another month or two before we find out when stuff's going to happen. All I know is that no matter what, I'm heading down to Baltimore to watch, regardless of whether the U.S. is there or not.
Yeah, I can give two shits about any other team other than the good old US of A. I mean, I'll watch anything on TV. Maybe I'd go to, if it was interesting enough at Red Bull Arena, I might go. But for the most part, I mean, Red Bull Arena, I'd even maybe stay for a half and then go to Hell's Kitchen Lounge and just have fun. Like, hey!
Get an awesome bacon cheeseburger.
Oh, so good. Maybe we'll run into some Rush fans again.
Oh, you can only hope.
Jimmy in the chat room asked, "Do you guys think they should get rid of this and only hold it every 4 years?" And actually, I forgot. I actually did want to talk about that. Um, I don't like the fact that this is every 2 years, where the 1 year it always ends up in the middle of World Cup qualifying. It just, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter since U.S. and Mexico will probably still field stronger teams. But it feels, I just feel like it devalues the tournament to have the World Cup qualifying going on at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, you figure Mexico and the U.S. probably both get SMB teams. I mean, Mexico not only has World Cup qualifying, they have the Confederations Cup too. So, so who knows? I mean, who knows? One of the lesser nations that's coming around, Panama, they're one of the teams that I believe are playing for their life tomorrow. If they make it, who knows? I mean, this could be an off year where somebody else wins it. Should it be every 4 years? The soccer junkie in me likes that it's every 2 years, but
Yeah, you like seeing more international, national games.
Yeah, but from a common sense, you're going to have two weakened squads in there. You're not who aren't full strength. I mean, if there was some way you could maybe instead of do the Gold Cup every 4 years, then have sort of, which has been spoken about in the past, a Copa America Gold Cup combination, that would be awesome. But I know that after they announced that it was done, it fell apart pretty quickly, and I don't think they picked that back up yet. So
no, and the two teams that are qualifying for the last spot are Guatemala and Panama. And they're playing tomorrow at 3 o'clock, I guess, local time, whatever it is. So by tomorrow night, we'll find out which those teams are playing. But not just for the U.S. and Mexico, but I mean, you have to look at the rest of the teams in the hex. I mean, you have Honduras, Costa Rica, Jamaica, and Panama. I mean, I find it hard to imagine that those teams will be able to field a B team, whether it's for the World Cup or not, but just be able to deal with both the Gold Cup and World Cup qualifying. And it's just, I mean,
it's silly.
I think it's silly, but somebody pointed out in the chat room, if it's not every 2 years, then the island nations go bankrupt, which it makes a good case. But then the question I have about that is, well, maybe there's something wrong with CONCACAF that needs to be fixed, aside from whether this Gold Cup is every 4 years.
Well, I think we've been. How many times have we railed on CONCACAF last season?
A few, but I mean,
yeah.
I mean,
a little bit more than a few.
Well, I mean, the big issue is the TV rights, but aside from that, something's got to be fixed. So.
Yeah, it's just stupid because we have games that matter. They're called, like we said, World Cup qualifiers. Gold Cup, fun, really, who gives a shit?
Who's ready for a ghetto soundbite about what this is all about?
Me.
All right, here we go. Hold on. All right, I'm done gettifying the.
Oh, it's fantastic.
All right. So since we have no more callers and we've reached the end of what we're going to talk about, I think this is a good point to end the show for tonight. Do either of you have any last thing to say before we go?
I hate you all. I have no one to thank but myself. Well, I mean, anyone in the chat box, if you guys want us to talk about something, bring it up now. Let's get funky.
And our live shows do not suck. Just as a point of reference.
They suck like a fox is how they do. Yeah, that's right.
And no, Jim, you can't have your own theme music.
Yes, you can. It's nothing. But no, we provide it, and it's Kid Rock.
Are we all going to wear sweater vests on opening day?
I'm in.
We had talked about this. Or no, I'm sorry, you had talked about it on Twitter about this vest, and then I think you also hinted that you and I need to get blonde wigs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, yeah, because I don't really have the ability to grow that much hair on my head, so I might need a short blonde wig to wear. We can't all have flowing locks like Pat.
Ooh,
I
yes.
can probably grow the hair, but not blonde, so it's just easier to get a wig than to bleach it.
I think thankfully, some of us know our buddy Chuck or Tom. You can call him one or the other. He has a multitude of sweater vests, so I think we'll all be good. We will just go to his house beforehand and just steal half his sweater vests. And
I don't know if I'll be wearing a sweater vest or not. We'll see.
All right, and
St. Patrick's Day is the Sunday, not the Saturday. Just I believe Saturday's the.
another question from the room: did Pecky actually make all these moves?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, I think he had input. You know,
Oh, for sure.
And
I'm sure he did.
and I think that's half the reason why it's a good hire, because it's not like he's like, yeah, I don't want this fucking guy. He obviously put a word in, and then Roxburgh obviously saw something in this guy the last couple months. So put two and two together. Yeah, I absolutely think he had a say in everything, and that's why it makes perfect sense to hire him.
Well, also, we know this organization, right? And we know what happened was went after a few guys. They asked too much. The team is now in camp. I mean, they're training now down in Florida. And how long are you going to go without a coach? It'll be weird to see how this season shakes out, because do you think the whole time they might be looking for another coach to fill in? Even if Pecky's doing a good job? Peggy might be doing a good job, and then a bigger name might show up and like, oh, hey, by the way, so-and-so's free. Jose Mourinho's free, so Peggy, you can go back to being assistant coach.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this much before. I mean, we got a couple of other interesting questions, but I will say this: I believe Andy Roxburgh was one of the guys who, when Dave Martinez reported the whole thing that him, DeBonton, and Julio couldn't get together, Roxburgh was one of the guys who wanted an American coach from the get-go. He came out today, I believe, and said that Pecky was on the radar early on. So I put some credence into that. So, it's maybe Roxburgh got his guy.
I think Roxburgh did. I think the other guys weren't too keen on it. They obviously wanted to get a slightly bigger name.
Yeah.
I think we're just all in lockstep that, God, please, Mike, kick some ass. We all want you to.
Yeah.
He is the guy. This is the job he wanted. When we spoke with him, this was it. This was the dream job. He did not want to coach anywhere else but New York. I think he would have retired before coaching anywhere else.
Yeah,
he wants to be here. He is definitely motivated.
Yeah. I look forward to the denial stage if he doesn't do well. You're like, oh no, he did this. It's cool. No.
And
that's not his fault.
The one thing we know about Mike is, as we've seen in past interviews, he will not be pulling any punches.
Exactly.
He's gonna be Mike Pecky. He's not gonna be. I'm not going to speak my mind at halftime.
Yeah, exactly.
He's going to come out and say how it is. He's a native New Yorker. That's the way it is. He's not going to tiptoe around anything. And I hope that's the way he is in the locker room and in practice. Is that I want him to be like, look, I don't care if you're Connor Lade. I don't care if you're Thierry Henry. This is how we're running shit.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to do that from the get-go.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Right, so, two of the questions in the chat room at the moment. The first one, would you have preferred Eric Winalda as the coach?
Dear God, no. I don't think I could put it any easier. Sweet baby Jesus, no way.
Back in November, December, yes. I think what he did with Cal FC was absolutely stunning. I think he's got the mind to do the game. I mean, he's a contrarian. I get that. He's pissed a lot of people off. I get that. But I do think he's a good coach. Now, no. With 5 months to go to the season, absolutely not.
I just don't think he's the right fit for New York.
I think that I don't give a shit what you say. Attitude, I think that does work here.
But it can get you into a lot of trouble with, I would say, the media, but who besides us internet people and podcasters and some people in the paper really covering them. It's not like Eric Winalda is going to have 40 reporters like the Yankees would surrounding him, but you know how the New York can be, and you know how the fans can be, and I don't think this is the place to start. I think Mike's a better fit than Ronaldo because he's used to being in New York, and like I said, he's a native guy, and he can handle it. He knows what to expect for sure.
Mhm.
Also, Eric Ronaldo doesn't pay bar tabs. Just saying. I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
I don't think Ronaldo would have been a good fit for this team. But saying that, if I were an outsider and wanted to see a circus, then yes, he would have been the coach.
Yeah, you definitely could have cued the music.
I maintain. I disagree. I think he would have done a tremendous job here. But again, I think if he was the hire, he would have been the hire in November, December. They just waited too long to name a coach, so Petke was the right choice.
They're mentioning Claudio Reyna. I would have loved to seen Claudio Reyna on the team. Again, I don't know about head coach for now. I would have loved to seen him in this organization and maybe a future head coach.
Mm.
But I would love to see him.
It would have been nice to see him.
I want Fat Tony on this team. Get him in there. What the hell? Let's get nuts.
I would definitely take Petke over Reyna.
Yes,
I would put Petke over Reyna. Yeah.
But I'd like to see Reyna. I'd like to see him here. Why not?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked to see Miola come in and play second fiddle to Petke. It wouldn't shock me.
Someone's got to eat the buffet.
I personally think Robin Fraser, I wrote this in my piece today, Robin Fraser or John Spencer, who are both looking for work at the moment, were both successful assistants before they were failed head coaches. I think both of them would be a nice fit to sit next to Petke. And even their failures can give, Petke a lot of insight.
All right, so last question, and I'm going to answer this one first. Who is your first choice for manager? So, assuming that Petke's off the table, my first choice would probably be Steve Nichols. I mean, the last few years that he had in New England weren't necessarily the greatest, but he's been around the league. He has the experience. He has led a team to a title. So, I mean, if you gave him 3 years and time to build the squad that fit him, maybe not a title, but because he's a very deep playoff runs out of something like that.
I have two choices. One is just going by heart, and that's Rafa Benitez. But he would want too much control and it'd be crazy, and I'm the only one here who would want him. My other choice, Ian Dowie, for the pure reason. Have you seen his face? That is the scariest looking dude ever on the sideline. The man is terrifying. You wouldn't want to screw with him. He might not be a bad manager, but damn it, if you mess up on the field, you have to walk in and look at that face in the locker room. Yeah, you'd get your act together real quick. And I'm sorry, if you haven't seen Ian Dowie, Google him right now and just stare at his evil face.
Now, are we talking crazy train wishes or like real wishes?
I just said Rafa Benitez and Ian Dowie, so.
So, all right, well, if we're going to go crazy train, then obviously Pep was available. So obviously, I would want him. But like out of anybody whose name was actually mentioned for the job, and realistically at least spoke to somebody about it, God help me, Eric Ronaldo. That Kel FC run impressed me that much. It really did. If he can do that with scrubs, I'd be really want to see what he can do with an MLS squad.
All right, we got another caller, 908. Who's this?
Hey, what up? It's Tiago from Jersey.
Tiago, what's up, man?
What's up? Hey, listen, if we have a horrible system, who would you blame it on? Peckett or the team management? Do you think it's gonna be free here for the full season as a head coach? It's gonna be something like as a half term, and then you're like, okay, you back to the manager. Now we bring someone else in.
I think you can only put so much on Petke for now, because I think it actually would have been the same really with any other manager coming in at this point. Management has made the trades. They've gotten the players, they've released the players. At this point, there's only so much on the coach. But definitely, if there's a failure, you're gonna have to look everywhere, aren't you?
Yeah, at a certain point, it's one of those the buck stops here types of deals. No matter what players he's got, he's going to be looked to fix it. And he definitely had some say in these guys. So, time will tell. Time will tell if he can figure it out. Hopefully, it won't be too bad.
I still say.
Talking over. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I still think that if he does horrible in the season, then the league's gonna have to jump on his toes. Be like, look, okay, this is where we need someone else because we're starting off, God forbid, 10-0, no games winning. I mean, we start all the 10, we haven't winning no games, and it's on your back now. So this is when we have to step in, and that time will be too late because they're gonna think like, where are we gonna go half the season when other teams are still playing the season?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, this is like a big. We knew it was coming, but they didn't want to say it, and they didn't want to, But we knew it was gonna happen because they could have had a coach a long time ago. I feel like they should have called Hans Bakker back. I think that was the last draw. I mean, if we do horrible this past season, I'm be surprised if we see a Hans Bakker. I'll be back.
Yeah, I don't think they thought it was going to be this hard to get a guy. I really don't. And then these guys started. I mean, this is what we hear. They were asking for too much, and they were asking for the world, and who knows how much control they wanted. And we mentioned this before with the way the organization is now, with Dave Bolton and Roxburgh, they're not giving all the control to the manager. Dave Bolton already said this. They're going to make the moves. The manager's going to be there to coach the team and organize the team. He's not going to be there like Hans Bakker was, making a lot of roster decisions. Right. I'm kind of getting off track here, but I think that if the team really has a big slide, this is the gamble you're taking. I think if they make like a coaching decision, I think what you'll see if that happens is that Pecky will go back to being an assistant, and they might bring someone else in because they know, look, we didn't get a guy. Pecky, you're kind of our only option here at this point. And I don't think they would punish him for that.
Right. Now, why don't they bring Richie Williams back? That's my question. He was out there. He could have been out there. Why didn't we bring Richie Williams back and apologize what we did to him and then try to get him back in the coach?
He must have really, really burned some bridges. I mean, I know there was some kind of crazy incident that no one will even talk about with him.
Yeah.
He must have just left the team with a black eye. And I'm with you. I thought Richie Williams should have been coached several times already. But I think at this point it's just too late for him.
He is actually coaching the U17 team for the upcoming U17 World Cup. I mean, it's not as prestigious as MLS, but I mean, he is working. But yeah, no, I thought about it as well, even if it was just bring him back as an assistant.
And now here's the thing. Before I go, you gotta understand. All they look at is European coaches.
Yeah.
What about South America, Brazil? That's two great Brazil coaches down around free agent. Then you got Brazil. Then you got South American coaches that are great too. So why do you have to go in that overseas and just keep it in America? That's what I'm trying to get to.
I think because they're not. I don't think they have enough experience, knowledge in South America and stuff. Maybe, I mean, obviously with Red Bull being based in Austria, they have more knowledge of Europe, and that could be why they're looking over there so much. Hey, we can ask, why weren't they looking at more American people as much until they picked Pecky and Ronaldo had his kooky, 2-second interview or whatever went down. They really weren't looking at a lot of American guys. They were just really looking overseas in Europe.
You have to remember, Houllier was the technical director for UEFA, so he has a lot of experience with European coaches and the European style of play. And this is just speculation, but if Austria is coming down and saying we want to see a certain style of play, then it would make sense to try to go find a European coach that could fit that style of play. Now, like I said, that's not necessarily what happened because, when nobody's party to that. But, Red Bull does have a team in Brazil, but my biggest question is, you have a front office staff that's coming in that's new to MLS. Aside from just trying to get a coach that knows MLS, why not just get someone else in the front office that knows MLS?
Well, Dave Bontin's been involved in MLS since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
He's made that point. He was actually on the board. he's been very involved from when we spoke to him at the ESC party. He knows a lot about the system. We kind of asked him about that, about the draft, about supplemental drafts, this and that, and he said he's been with MLS since the beginning. He was on the board that approved the money to get the league going. He knows the system. I mean, this is really kind of the guy that you wanted.
I know this is it with my packet. People want him to play the bench. This is what you want. This is what you're going to get. You will see him Packet go to bench. So there's no blame. If we lose games, you can't put it on him because he's using the bench. That's what people was complaining about and bitching about. Now you got what you wanted. You want someone who can use the bench? He will definitely go to the bench. He's not afraid to go to the bench.
Absolutely.
I think with us, hey, you know what? If he's making the right moves and we see him making the right moves, I'll cut him more slack. How much? I mean, Hans Backe didn't even know what a bench was.
Yeah.
He really didn't.
Now remember what the DC United head coach? He didn't know what he was doing either. But look what he had now.
Yeah.
Remember? Ben Arnold. I'm sorry. Yeah, I lost it. I had a brain fart. But yeah, Ben Arnold. So he didn't know what he was doing the first time he came in. And right now he's one of the probably top coaches right now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you got to give these guys a shot, and Mike's getting his shot.
Let's hope he makes the best of it.
You also have to remember, Ben Olsen also played in MLS, so he had knowledge of the league. So for him, most of it was just trying to get used to the manager role. I would suspect. Thankfully for Pecky, he's been assistant to Hans before, so he's seen at least a little bit of it. The biggest question for me is obviously, we still don't know who all the players are going to be, especially with Willem Conde being released yesterday and having trialists in camp and all that stuff.
Now, is that released from the team or released from the police department? Which one?
Maybe both. At least the team, as far as I know.
I still don't want Kaka. Kaka's a DP. I wouldn't want to take him at all. I mean, come on. He goes to AC Milan and then he's gonna be like, okay, I tried the whole Euro. It's like a rebound type thing. Like, okay, New York is the last thing. Go take me. No, I wouldn't want that. I want someone that comes out here to play, for us, not just because like, okay, I'm getting money here, so let me just put some cleats on and run back and forth and make goals and play lousy. But I'm Kaka, so I'm gonna get away with it, and I don't appreciate that. I want someone who can be out there and play with the balls.
The last guy who did that, I think his name was Rafa Marquez.
Oh, yeah. There you go. So do you want a Rafa 2? Rafa Kaka sounds alike, so I don't know.
Well,
Kaka Marquez.
We'll have to wait and see on that, because I think it's been pretty clear that New York's not going to go out and sign another DP until the summer window, if at all this year. So
Yeah, it's fine by me.
hopefully somebody else will emerge and can take his place.
Hopefully.
We'll see.
Hey,
All right,
Tiago,
guys,
thanks for calling, man. We appreciate it.
All right, man. Yeah, bye.
Yeah, thanks, man. Good call.
All right.
Tiago and Jimmy Capes representing.
Eric, we got 4 minutes, so if anyone's got a goofy ass question, anything, go for it, and we'll go on the hot seat if anyone wants to do that.
That's right. Hey, I'll hot seat it up.
If not, go fuck yourselves.
Hey, and let's since we got everything working and last week was a total clusterfuck. Definitely want to mention that, as a lot of you know, we're going to be covering Sky Blue, which is going to be cool. We'll definitely mention during the podcast. We have a writer for them now. Cheryl's our writer. Sky Blue seems very, very open to having us cover the team, which is super cool. They've been just completely inviting, and
yep.
That's going to be awesome. I think we're going to have a lot of cool guests this year. I think we're going to have guests that I never thought we'd ever had before. So, knock on wood, I think it's going to be a good year for the show. I hope it's for the Red Bulls.
So yeah, let's since I know we announced this last show, but like Truman said, we have Cheryl who's writing about Sky Blue. We have Pete Urich who's going to cover the Red Bulls, along with Craig Taylor who's giving us his view from across the pond. Pete was also in Indianapolis last week when the NWSL draft was covered, so he was actually thankfully able to get some video of the Sky Blue coach Gabera and one of the drafted players, Joe Lloyden. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out. It's actually some pretty good stuff. And aside from an expanded writing this year, we're actually going to try to do some videos and other stuff outside of the show. So we have a lot planned for this year. How much we get through, we'll see. But hopefully it's going to be a really good year for us.
There's also a chance that a man named Little David Beckham might reappear this year. I'm really hoping he can clear his schedule. I know his son's busy training with Chelsea, but I think Little David Beckham might show up at some point this year.
You think David Beckham's son will be a Yank or a Brit for national team?
That's a good question. We'll have to wait and see on that one.
If he can bend it like Beckham, I hope he does it for America.
Hey, here's my final question for the day. Bigger idiot, Eden Hazard or the kid that was holding the ball that got kicked?
Eden Hazard. The kid was a little shit. You know what? I deal with a lot of shits every day. I want to kick, and I don't. So.
And he was also tweeting. He was tweeting that he was going to cause a ruckus before the game, I believe.
Yeah.
The ball boy did say, "Best ball boy ever returning." #wasting time.
And a friend of mine said that his parents are like some of the owners of the team.
I did see something about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. I mean, it's Eden Hazard could have kicked him a little harder if he wanted to. Really.
Still don't kick a kid. You just don't kick a kid.
Actually,
I've wanted to kick a lot of people in my life, but I don't because I know it's bad.
Can we go with the Chris Rock and just say you can shake the hell out of him?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so since we have no more questions, let's wrap this up. Do either of you have any last thing to say before we close this out?
Good show. Thanks, Tiago and Jimmy, for calling in. Thanks, guys, for chatting with us. Hopefully, as we do this, more live shows, more people will join in. It's definitely a good time.
Yeah. USA beat Canada.
Oh, yeah. Take off, you hosers. Oh, since we're playing Canada, I have to make some crazy score, so the U.S. is going to beat them like 13-0.
Oh, that's right. We do have to predict. 3-0 U.S.
13-0 U.S.
4-1 U.S.
I'll have my Canadian and U.S. flag hung up for the game, as I do every time those two teams play. Yeah. Former Canadians.
All right, so to wrap up, visit our website at redbullrant.wordpress.com. You can email us at redbullrant@gmail.com. During the week, you can actually call us at 973-348-5329. And if you leave a voicemail, we will play it on the show. On Skype, you can also call us at Red Bull Rant. On Facebook, facebook.com/RedBullRant. On Twitter, show's handles at Red Bull Rant. Mine's at Dr. Stooge. Pat's at PMAC-D82. Truman's at The Truman. And as always, if you listen to us on iTunes, make sure to leave a rating. And as I announced last show, we are now officially on Stitcher. The audio version is at this point. Eventually, I'm going to try to get the video up there. So if you want to listen to the audio, feel free to do it that way too.
Hey, go on our blog page and follow Pete and follow Craig and follow Cheryl.
Yes.
And actually, if you're on Twitter, we actually have a list so you can follow all of the writers, and it makes it very easy for you.
Booyaka.
Right,
one more thing. I hope CM Punk beats The Rock this weekend. Bam. Said it. Locking it down. CM Punk beating The Rock. Boom.
Just for the Punk Cena rematch at WrestleMania.
That's right.
I'm rooting for Mr. Perfect and the Repo Man.
All right, so this is episode number 44. I thank you for tuning in, and I actually, instead of saying go Red Bulls, I'm going to say go Mike Pecky.
Yeah. Win, Pecky. Win, baby.